seconds.
Okay, guys, have a good show. You're both going to do great. It should be pretty easy. Things tend to run pretty smooth around here.
Oh, that is not good.
It's going to be fine. It should just come back on in a moment, hopefully, here.
Graphics are down. I repeat, graphics are down.
Okay, I mean, that's fine. We'll just talk through the same things. No graphics. Nothing to stress about, guys.
Why don't we ask him?
Who? Hi, Toast. Do you think you could whip some graphics up for us, maybe?
Sure.
Yeah, just make sure you make them nice and big and flashy. It's got to fill the whole wall here.
Okay, how much time do I have?
None. With playoffs only weeks away, every match is do or die, and every single round counts. Hello, and welcome to Week 6 of VCT Americas, coming to you live from the Riot Games Arena, right here in Los Angeles, California. I'm Mimi, and joining me on the desk today, I have two special guests, 5'2" powerhouse in V1's Mel, and then also BCJ from EG joining us here.
Ooh, that's cold. I mean, we'll talk about that after the show. I won't let that slide again.
Okay. I mean, you're both powerhouses, I would say.
I'll take it.
We got some friends with us, too. I can see some beautiful artwork has been whipped up for us.
You guys are looking good. I'm not going to lie.
Mel, I like your glasses.
Where is his glasses? That's what I'm wondering.
Okay, he's got them on deck. Lovely.
Okay, we're looking pretty good, guys, honestly.
Yeah, I'm a fan of it. I like that I have a headset. I look very professional. But yeah, as we kick things off in Week 6, let's take a little peek at the standings here and see where things are at. BCJ, only 2 weeks left here in the group stage.
Yeah, I mean, the focus for most of these teams is going to be making playoffs, obviously, but you're going to be looking at that 5 to 8 range. These are the teams that are really looking to secure themselves a spot. These are the weeks that are going to do it. Actually, most of these teams in the 5 to 8 range are playing one another, so get ready for some interesting head-to-head matchups. I mean, these guys are going to be playing for do or die at this point for playoffs, so should be exciting matches all around.
Yeah, all of these matches count here towards the end of the season, and it's really interesting to me that there's something like 32,000 mathematical possibilities for this to go, and everything is so close. Everything matters, and it's honestly just like a coin flip at this point. It's hard to tell who's going to win these games with how many upsets have happened.
I'm really glad you're bringing some good, honest analysis already. She's ran the numbers to prepare for this weekend. You love to see it, but you also love to see some pretty good matches today. We got EG versus SEN kicking us off, and then C9 MIBR later today. That first one in particular is going to be pretty important for both those squads' chances towards the playoffs, BCJ.
Yeah, I mean, this is the most important game for me, for EG. I think Sentinels is one of those teams that has looked shaky, has looked very good. So you're not sure which version you're going to get today. Hopefully for me, we're going to get a shaky one. But yeah, love both the guys on both the teams. I have family on both teams, so it's going to be hard to root for one or the other. But yeah, I think this is a good match for both the teams to really show what progress they've had through the season. And, I mean, what better time to show it than right before playoffs?
Yeah, and that MIBR and versus Cloud9 game as well. That's Cloud9's chance to keep their near flawless season continuing 5-1 right now. And for MIBR, they're starting to run out of chances.
I know C9 is really hot on their heels too. They're not trying to drop any maps. There was an interview with Zelsis, and he was really focused on talking about how they're incredibly focused on closing this out. They are not feeling complacent. They want every match, and every round matters. So it's gonna be really interesting to see what kind of firepower and how much dominance they could potentially bring today.
Yeah, with 2 to 4 teams fighting for survival today, well, why don't you guys tell us who you think is going to win using the hashtags VCT Americas and VCT over on Twitter. Get to that website. Also, tell us what you think about these lovely artistic works of art that we have going on here. That's something that makes sense. But let's move on here. With school wrapping up and playoffs on the horizon, there's a lot of new eyes here on VCT. So I think it's time for another round of taboo analysis. And for you two that are new to the show, this is a little segment that we like to do to, educate the new viewers, keep things nice and simple. You're both pro players, and I know you have a breadth of knowledge, but we want to keep things basic. So I'm going to ask no agent names, no ability names, no proper nouns, none of that fancy lingo. Does it seem reasonable?
Let's see what we got. I mean, this is going to be a struggle bus, but we're here.
Okay, well, I can do the first one here. Give a little demo on this one. We have Crew versus Loud, where the big ball of blinding ability is currently covering in main, and Sonic has the close-range kill multi-bullet gun inside of it. So we get a little dangerous for him, but it's going to be the coordinate together on two sides to take the site as big beam laser come through and attempt to attack someone, but little overly cheap weapon is surprisingly effective. Still, trades are there, and now the control of the area you use to get into the site where you plant the device that wins you the round has been taken, and it's just got one guy remain. He has little cowboy gun, and I don't think it's going to work out. Pretty good player, but shouldn't happen in this one. Les will run away. Okay, that's fine. Pretty basic round there.
Really good at that. Oh, have you practiced this?
I'm a professional
you're surprisingly really good at that.
I feel like you guys can do better. I mean, you guys play the game every day, right?
Yeah, we're gonna see. We're gonna find out, I guess.
Okay, let's get another round up here. Let's move on to Mel. If we can get that second one prep. This is gonna be one from the exact same matchup. So let's see some of that experience, some of that knowledge, please.
Okay, it looks like we're on the map where you are underground in Paradise in a little dome, and then the girl that has the little shurikens is gonna go, and they're having double shuriken fight. She is sprinting, running up an area that has some pieces of things on the wall that are artistic. Just flying into the air. You see 130 behind her, running away, and then little flowers and dandelions are healing her, so she is back to full HP. A wave crashes onto the enemy Killjoy. He gets
the what, sir?
The enemy.
I just don't know.
I don't even know. I actually don't know what else to call her. The enemy German, and then she's just gonna. The American is going to fart everywhere, and it's gonna smell really bad, and it's so bad that you just get like a lung defect. So that's really unfortunate. I don't even know what to call that.
I'd say you did a very good job of explaining that one. What's happening now, though?
Right now, there's even more like stinky matter on the ground. They can't see anything. They're just holding mouse 1. I can say mice, right? Peripheral, surely.
It's an ant.
Everyone's just spamming. Everyone's just spraying. Little tiny gun that shoots 3 bullets at a time, going crazy. And I mean, just finishes off. The fart really made the difference there, I feel like.
Would you agree with that assessment?
Wow, I mean, how am I supposed to follow that up? That was just well done.
Well
done.
Honestly, well done.
I don't believe you guys.
I feel like we learned a lot, some nationalities of all the players, but
we're going into this. He's going through the green orb. He's going to decide to try to knife someone. He ends up dying. This guy comes out of nowhere, snipes him in the back. Now we have a standoff. It's like a Mexican duel, and everything's just happening all at once. That guy just ran out and just threw his life away. Now we have the big scope gun. The big scope gun, he is just activated. Look at him, he's sweating right now. He is activated, he is getting ready to go for more. Get his, some would say. Here he goes. This is gonna be a duel here. They're gonna fight. It's either gonna be the sniper or the rifle. He's gonna win this fight. There you go, they're gonna walk into it. The sniper gets his, jumps away, pulls out his knives. He decides the knives are better than weapons, and up the rope he goes to get the final kill. Wow, I mean, that was an insane round. Everything happened like instantly.
Yeah, I think you guys have a future in casting. I feel like I learned a lot.
So we're lying. He's got it.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
All right, well, we'll get them to work on their duo a little bit and get that one improved. While that happens, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll have the big brain proper noun analysis that you guys all really want to see straight on the other side.
Attempt by Cloud9, pushing forward. Sassy with the first one taken. A quick reset. Okay. I don't know that they're going to be expecting. Oh my gosh, they have no idea! Ethan makes a meal out of Leviathan!
back to VCT Americas. Let's talk about our first match of the day. We're going to be spinning into week 6 with EG versus Sentinels. Both of these NA squads are 2-4 at the moment, which means their social media team is probably sweating.
Oof, I mean, this is a tough one. I didn't even know we had a social media team until I was told recently. So
you learn something new every day.
We're getting, you know, more inclined. No, just kidding. Love those guys. We do a bunch of content with them. We love them. And look at, oh my God, they're so handsome. Look at that guy right there. That's Alex Moore. Oh my God.
This is the analysis we brought you.
We had Tony coming in. Look at Tony, big man. Boosty, IGO. We got Max coming in and Coach Christine Puater.
All right, well, thank you for that one. I really appreciate it. But Mel, these boys who you're looking at on your screen for BCJ are very handsome. They had a pretty good match last week. They got, I think, their first big upset, getting that 2-1 victory over Leviathan.
Yeah, they're coming into this week, honestly, with a pretty big win on their shoulders. They're coming in on a high, on like a huge high note. Leviathan has been hyped up pretty much this entire split, and rightfully so. I think that win is really going to give them the confidence against Sentinels that could make this a really close match.
Yeah, and BCJ, this seems like a big improvement over some of the previous matches for EG, where they would start strong, have these good ideas, and then would kind of fall apart in the later parts of these matches. But here, they really stayed resilient and were adapting till the end.
Yeah, and for me, I mean, you've seen how strong we've looked. Obviously, coming out like 9-3 has been obviously the 9-3 curse, but we come out games really strong sometimes. And I think for me, it's the comfortability. These guys are getting comfortable. They're getting comfortable in their role and in each other, and that is really what's extending that lead. And it's giving them the wins that they couldn't quite find. We couldn't quite close out in the past.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Mel.
I was thinking too that it's really interesting they took a win off of Leviathan, considering that the narrative being that EG is pretty prep heavy and they do like a lot of game planning and stuff like that against Leviathan, who's a team that is pretty heavy in the protocols and stuff like that. And this week they're playing against a team that is a little less structured. I mean, they're bringing in Icemen. Like, they have like a week or two of practice. They're far less like structured than a team like Leviathan. So I wonder how they're going to fare against that.
It's a very different stylistic matchup for this one, but one thing that you wanted to talk about from that game that was an improvement for EG was their anti-ecos throughout that game were much stronger.
And I think even Potter herself said, I think a week 3 or week 4 interview, she said, these damn anti-ecos are just haunting us. And if you look at the Loud game, they lost 2 anti-ecos in 1 half in a match that ended 13-10. They could have 2-0'd Loud that day had they potentially not gotten ecoed or thriftied twice. And I think they got thriftied the first half as well. So seeing them clean up those anti-ecos versus Leviathan, only getting 50'd once, which is still a lot, but it's still a huge improvement. And I'm looking to see them improve in that regard for this week.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, you got to get these rounds down against the Pistols. I think we've seen a lot of it recently with Cloud9's success with the Frenzies and the Stinger buy, the Sheriff buy with Rooney, obviously. I think the teams are starting to understand what value they can get out of those low purchase rounds. And so, yeah, we got to keep that level of, listen, I know these rounds used to be really easy in the past, but people are getting better and better. We got to get better on those anti-ecos as well.
The fundamentals are one thing that has really improved for EG, but a guy who I think has been quite consistent, even when the squad is struggling, has been Ethan. He had a really strong performance last week. Can you talk a little bit about playing with him, BCJ?
Yeah, I mean, Ethan comes from a background of being on a competitive team for a long time. Comes from a different game, moving over to this game, instantly joined a competitive team. He has never been like the ranked guy, you know what I mean? The ranked no-commer. He is always the most vocal that I've played with so far on the team. Alongside that and Bucio's IGLing, I think it just creates a great dynamic for the team. Having him and his leadership and his presence in the practice room and in the server is something that these guys can't talk about enough. So yeah, having him there, I mean, just look at these results. I mean, you could talk about consistency, but this guy, he's been doing it for a long time.
He's also the player who is, like you said, by far like the most experienced, adding that voice to the squad. Mel, for you, can you talk a little bit what it's like to be able to have a player like that? Because I know now with V1, you have a coach in Effie's who's been through a lot of the same experiences, making some of those first few international lands, just like Ethan did at Berlin.
Yeah, with Effie's, him making like the international at Iceland, we have like a lot more faith in like the system and trust in the things he tells us and the system that he has in place, knowing that he's been to that level, he knows what it takes. And for Ethan, I'm sure at EG, they think the same thing. They're like, this guy's been there, he's made it top 4 before at international, and seeing and having that mentorship can make a world of difference.
They really can, and I'm sure that he's adding that to this squad. But Mel, one thing that you wanted to break down was over on the Telestrator wall to talk about some of the good things that EG did just last week.
Yeah.
The Melistrator wall. I'm sorry for not using the technical term here.
Crazy. Oh my God. Yeah, so over here, by the Telestrator wall, super cute, super cool. I have round 7 from Pearl against their match versus Leviathan, and quick before I play the clip, we're gonna look at the ult economy for both teams. A lot of ults in play. This is where it kind of gets complicated when there's a lot of ult interactions. So for Leviathan, we have a Viper ult, the Sky Seekers, and we have the Harbor Reckoning. And for EG, we have the Jet Knives. We also have the Seekers and the Reckoning as well. So this is a really interesting round where a lot of ults come into play, and they usually tend to get complicated. So sometimes it's easier enough to just kind of go with the set play, something that you and your team has dry ran and drilled before. And we're gonna see EG walk in contact up mid here, and they're actually just gonna use their ults to go into an A split through art. Actually, something really interesting here you want to notice is that Boostio has an operator because he was dropped it by Demon 1 so he could pop his knife. So just an interesting detail. The Sky Cabbages are going to pop so they can actually get him some easier way to get into A main later. But as you see, they're just contacting up mid, just looking for these early duels. You're going to see Leviathan actually, let's see if I can get a pen. You're gonna see Leviathan do this wall that they do as a reaction to when teams, when they get B main control with the operator, and now you're gonna see the play here. So immediately, I'm gonna take a look at the radar here. So the Killer's in a pretty tough spot. I like the combo of the Reckoning and the Seekers because the Reckoning's gonna stun you if you sit in place, right? But if you wanna accurately break the Seekers, you're gonna have to shoot it and crouch, or not crouch, just stand in still. So you kinda have to back off because you can't stand still because the Harbor ult's gonna stun you, and you can't shoot the Seekers because the Harbor ult's gonna stun you, so you just need to get out of the sight. So he is gonna have to fall back here, and it's gonna give free space to get a sight, and you're gonna see a cove here and get a safe plant here for EG. So it puts them in a really nice spot for the post plant. Boostio as well, he's gonna scale up with the operator. And keep in mind here too, don't forget this detail, this this lurk on calm is gonna be really important in the late round. So this is a really well thought out strat with the double ults, and it's gonna be interesting to see how they play their post plant. You're gonna see Leviathan pop a Viper ult in reaction to this, and it looks really chaotic from our POV, but that flash right there and this control of Secret that EG is taking is absolutely critical to this post plant. You're gonna see they left nobody in art. They know this is the post plant they want. And on this map, it's really, really strong post plant to hold that secret control because of how awkward it is for the defense. And keep in mind as well, Calm is now going for this lurk at the same timing as Mizzino is re-clearing art. So this is a great timing by Calm, but let's see how it plays out. Everything is in EG's favor here. They have every advantage. They have that strong secret control, so good understanding the map design. They have a great post plant, a plant spot where it's planted open. They have that reflank, and it's a really interesting round seeing them actually take all the advantages that they're given by using these ults. You're gonna see it play out here. There's that lurk from Calm, perfectly played. The Seekers come out, but he still gets the kill. We're gonna see King gets a really nice 2K off of his own team Seekers. Judgment gets his 1. It comes down to the 2v2, and this is also great game planning by EG. The last 2 people alive are Boostio and Calm, which is 2 of the agents that have the mollies. So you're gonna see the Viper mollies get used. You're gonna see the Killjoy molly just went off. Boostio gets a pick with the operator, and then Mizzino's trying to half it. There's a Viper molly, or there's a Viper snakebite at his feet, and the round is cleaned up. And you can really see every little advantage EG could squeeze out of everything, going from art splitting off rip with the 2 ults, getting that secret control, getting that flank, and then lastly having those 2 molly post-plant characters alive in the clutch. Huge for EG. And honestly, a really good showing of the plans that they have, but unfortunately the round afterwards, they end up losing, and it's high ego, which will be discussed.
That's tough, but it was a really good job by them. And BCJ, one of the big improvements for EG has seemed to be in those late round situations in the last few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it right there. I think the late round has been a big thing. Mainly post plants, I think, is something that you notice if you, at the end of each game, the team who usually wins more post plants usually wins the game. It's just generally how the game works right now. So if you can really get the bomb down a bunch of times, or the spike, you can really get those rounds converted.
Yeah.
Really, I think for us, post plants has been the biggest thing to really grow on. And I mean, if you got cringe post plants like that, you can't really lose.
Love to have a little bit of cringe in there. But for more on the preparation, some of those cringe strats that are coming out, we have an open mic listening in on the comms from EG in their game versus Leviathan.
Let me call what I want. Let me call what I want
Go,
this round.
Corbin.
Can you alarm bot cat Boosty and just put your turret for pizza? Cat trap. Max and Ethan, go towards B early. Ethan, hold a flash for Max, and Max early peek B main. Just sit there and hold the whole round, okay? And then, Jaw, I need you just one way A main. If they push you up, that's all good. Just fall up.
Yeah. Do you alarm by cat, right, Corbin?
Yep.
Give me audio here at the start.
Yeah.
Oh, no voy a ultiar popla porque no me tirso igual.
Pero por eso la chanté en un lugar que no pueda pegarnos.
Cage your tile, cage your tile. He
Guy
might
being
something.
Market, I think I saw. No, it was.
Yeah, it was.
They
It
need
was.
molly for cat. They might walk up cat quick. Corbin, be ready to rip it.
Yeah, I
Might
am.
be meant to be. I think it's
Rip
meant
it,
to
rip
be.
it, rip it.
Yo, jardín.
Kill KO. No ult, no ult.
Could walk through, Jaw.
I have mid B. You can
walk
go
through
mid A.
Okay, I'm
Play
leading, I'm
retake.
leading. I'll go drone
Okay,
out A.
let's just play retake, okay?
Pisa, se va a estar el Opi en B, probablemente.
Sí, gracias. Búsquenle baranda, vayan tras baranda, ¿no? Tronando baranda.
Hoy tiene spot mercado, dentro del mercado.
El baranda, 4-4, puedo juntarnos ahora, juntémonos.
¿Tenéis dron?
Tenemos ulti de Guille, ¿eh?
Vamos beta con ulti.
Puede estar al lado.
Sí, vamos,
gusta.
lo sacamos.
La sacamos con dron y la atacamos.
I'm just sitting here, okay?
Just double hill, fuck
I
it.
can't.
Okay, okay, that's fine.
Again, B,
I'm playing soft,
My
okay?
turret has your mid.
Yeah.
Nothing B.
Getting in with you.
We're fully giving cat.
Can you jiggle door?
Trying to.
No la vi.
Ah,
¿Esa para derecha?
Yo creo que dronea de acá nomás.
Sí, de ahí.
Cuidado que pica de tiempo, dejen.
Sí, dejemos
Ok, déjame primero. Vamos, chicos.
Sí, pues no podemos pasar con mi ulti.
1, 2.
No pasar con mi ulti,
Ok,
porque
ok,
está
cubramos
enfermo.
¿Por qué no?
Nothing. Two. Mid B.
30 seconds left.
More
I
Ethan.
see that.
One more Ethan.
Enemy remaining.
This guy.
Let's go, Ethan! Hey!
Hey! That's 30. That's 30. Hey, let's go.
Those comms ever important for every team, and good in that one for EG. But let's move on to the opponent that they're facing off against, Sentinels. And while EG scored a major win last week, Sentinels took a pretty big loss against Cloud9. They really got rolled over in that game, BCJ.
Yeah, unfortunately, my GOAT, Zekken, did not have a great performance. But, I mean, it happens to the best of us, honestly. He's had to role swap. It's probably been a confusing time for him to really find his footing. But I'm more than confident now, being back to his old role, where, you know, we used to play double duelist. I think now that's going to be big for him.
Yeah, and for Zekken in particular, it was a pretty rough game there, but it seemed like wider. It was the attacking sides that were struggling for the Sentinels team now.
And I do feel like a lot of it has come down to C9 just also having an incredible defense. Their defense has always been great, but honestly, seeing this look on Lotus with the Neon and how fast they are to rotate off of Zeppa's information gain is incredible to watch, and how dominant and also sometimes aggressive that they are. It kind of puts Sentinels in a really hard spot, and it's definitely really punishing if you're a team that has only really been scrimming a week and you're playing against one of the defensive best teams in the league.
And that's where my question comes up of how worried should we be against Sentinels? Because like you said, they are a really new team with the changes coming in super last minute, and they lost to one of the top squads in the league, Brennan.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Rory's leadership, I think he needs some more time with these guys. It seems like the disconnect on the attacking side will get fixed over time, but it's hard to say from, you know, not being in the room, not being with those guys. But I could see them easily coming back, game planning those different maps, looking at Cloud9, saying, hey, we're getting pushed, you know, arcade a lot of these rounds, like what are we going to do to counter it? Directly try to change that.
And Zekken here on your screen as well. This is a guy you were talking to a lot. That role swap has been solid for him, maybe struggling a little bit more, but it has opened up some of the other players on the team to play roles that they are more comfortable in now.
And I think it makes them more comfortable in terms of communications as well. And I can only speak from outside the team, but even just looking at the fact that Zekken is asking for people to break his util, give him util, puts them in a position where they're like, okay, I kind of get this like game flow, I kind of get this game plan here where I can break your util, I can give you my util. And I feel like that puts them in a great spot as well.
It does, but the project is still early on, and this week is going to be very important for the Sentinel squad to keep those playoff chances good. But earlier, we spoke with Zekken about what it's like having to fill in the big shoes that Ten's left.
Being in Ten's role is hard, man. It's difficult, but it's enjoyable. I like doing it, and my teammates support me really well. It's a bit different to what I did before. I have to be a lot more aggressive and take more fights for the team. Being in this role helped me learn that I need to be a better communicator. I need to ask for my teammates' support more. It's definitely helped me to expand that part of my game.
You played with Zekken in the past, BCJ. He's talking about finding improvement in his comms in this new role. How do you feel like that's been for him, seeing as he was playing duelists at least some of the time when you were with him on XSET?
Yeah, definitely. And back then, you know, you would play KO Sky as a duelist as well. So for him, he's always been the mature young player. I think that's something that's always stuck out to me. When bringing him and Cryo on, both respectively, they had to work on that trait specifically. Getting their voice, finding their voice is really what it is. I think he found his voice on XSET very well. He kind of slotted in really nicely. But taking over a main duel spot, primarily opping as well on Jet, that's something completely different that he might not have been as used to as, you know, maybe playing the rifle duelist role, which he was more comfortable with in the past.
And while he doesn't have quite as much age, quite as much experience at the international level, a guy who really, really does has been Marv, who came into this roster as a substitute initially and now a full-time player for the rest of their run. Even when they've struggled, Mel, he's looked incredible.
I think if you watch that first Sentinels game he subbed in, it is honestly a controller masterclass. I can speak for myself. I was watching those VODs intently. I was watching those games live, and it's incredible what he can do and the impact that he can have on controller. Of all roles, controller, he is always showing up, but I think one thing is that his lurks have been big, and I think Cloud9 really keyed into that because they were not letting him get any value from his lurks on maps like Lotus.
For a very prepared team like EG, though, do you think it's somewhat exploitable, BCJ? Because a lot of the lurks he goes for are quite risky.
Yeah, this is going to be the test of time for this game. How active can he be on the lurk? What's it going to be like where he's on his, island, so to speak? I think he has more than enough possibility to do it. He's done it against the best teams in the world, so why can't he do it now? But that's going to be the focus for EG. How do we stop the Iceman?
They're going to have to try and shut him down because he has been on an incredible run thus far. But we're just a few minutes from getting this one underway. So I wanted to ask you guys about your predictions. We've put together some art, maybe rivaling what Toast built up a little bit earlier. Mel, you want to start?
Oh, should I start with my art?
Yeah, please,
Okay.
I'd love to see it. I'm sure it's fantastic.
All right, don't get your hopes up.
Okay.
I have SEN taking it. I have a little
The
king
little
face.
faces there, very additive.
You know, those are the fans. Woo! Sen City.
What's your reasoning for going for Sentinels in this one? Because to me, this seems like a pretty close match.
Yeah, I think earlier what I brought up about EG taking that win versus Leviathan was incredibly impressive, but at the same time, Leviathan is a protocol-heavy team, and EG came in with what it appears to be good game plan and good prep going into it. Meanwhile, Sentinels seems like a team that's almost the polar opposite of that, where it's like they play pretty on the fly, and they have 3 world-class players or 3 people that have won at a Champions or at an international event that are able to do those things so on the fly, so it'll be a really hard test for them.
I'm on the same page with you. I think despite a rough game last week, there's a lot to learn from that one, and you just can't doubt these players. But I have a feeling that, BCJ, you're going to give us a different perspective on this.
Yeah, going the completely different route. Not trying to get fired here or anything, but we're living evil, baby. Look at that artistic drawing right there. We got the hashtag Live Evil. That's fine. I'm hoping to see a ton of that on Twitter today. But yeah, no, I'm believing in the guys. I think that they're really making that push for playoffs, and I think everyone's kind of hitting their peak form, especially on their new roles. So I'm excited to see them today.
What do you think is the biggest thing that EG need to focus on to win this one out?
Man, I talked about the post plants, the anti-ecos, but yeah, all those combine into being the fundamentals. I think if EG works in the fundamentals, they have a solid chance to beat these guys. I think any player on EG can have a pop-off moment. I've said that in the past, but I truly believe it. You can see pick any player and any round and any moment, any role. Any of them could pop off, and you're looking for that today. You need multiple pop-off moments. You need it from your big star players, and this is the time.
Mel, it's the same case for Sentinels, though. I mean, that's everything we talk about with this squad, the pop-offs, the individual performance.
And I think for Sentinels as well, some of their fundamentals kind of slid away or slipped away last week, so it'll definitely be a battle of the fundamentals for this one.
It's going to be a big game for both of these squads. And really, I think it's also one that's going to be super important to keep the mentals in check, to keep focus, because both these squads are still in a position where playoffs are possible. And it is going to be a very important game for EG in particular. This is a squad that has so many doubters. They found their first big upset last week against Leviathan. They have that momentum behind them. But for Sentinels as well, bringing in this new player, despite a tough loss, this is a squad you can always rely on to make some improvements, to learn from their losses and come out stronger. It's big implications for both of these squads. It is a game that matters very much for both. And Week 6 of VCT Americas is getting started just on the other side. Evil Geniuses and Sentinels ready to take the stage.
This stream contains fast-flashing images that may affect viewers who are susceptible to photosensitive epilepsy or other photosensitivities. Viewer discretion is advised.
Everyone was talking about him, and this is going to be the guy to look out for.
Too much Cryo again. Does this guy miss? Does Cryo ever miss? No, he doesn't.
I wonder if
MIBR, I think they have very good individual players. I think JZZ and Heat are playing very, very well.
There's Marv with it, but he's not good for much more. As Heat's just destroying them.
Próximo jogo significa bastante pra gente a gente sabe que não tem margem para erro mais. Eu esperava sim uma performance boa da Cloud9, eles têm ótimos jogadores, o Leaf se destacando bastante.
Flash in the face, everyone's blind! Well, another bait, holding the ground, Celsius swing, no way! Let's go!
Evil Geniuses, us both being teams that have changed players, giving new looks is something that's important to both of our teams, so kind of just expecting the unexpected.
Oh my gosh! He's going for the flank. Taka's done. It's just on to... Oh, the head! Remember, he still only has a stinger. He's got it down to a 1v1. Oh, the weapon's not great, but the timing is!
Yeah, we're definitely underdogs. I mean, Sentinels has a huge fan base. They're an overall cohesive team.
And they're just swinging right into Sentinels' crosshairs. Oh, that's as clean as it gets, man.
The last time I played Sentinels, we won. It was an older roster, but hey, still beat the org, so I'm ready to play again.
Nobody's clearing it, though. It's halfway, these are Calm. Calm gets the kill in the clutch.
The Kings of Clout taking on NA's biggest underdog in EG versus Sentinels. Both these teams have playoff hopes on the line and an important game in this one. So I'm sure, VCJ, the huddles, the discussion ahead of this matchup are going to be very important.
Yeah, I mean, always getting the guys hyped and ready to go is, you know, what you're looking for here. But from both sides, I'm expecting big-time things from Kaplan and Potter here. I think you need to... Hey, look at that. Shout out to my mom right there. That's my mom. Shout out to the gang pulling up for today. CC's been in town as well. Big shout out to the gang. But yeah, no, really big moment for EG here. I think they need to really lock in. Likewise for Sentinels. This is a chance for Marv and the rest of the guys, Zekin, to prove that they can compete at this Tier 1 level, and they are the best in their role.
I mean, coming off of that loss last week especially, they definitely need this. I think they're feeling confident going into it. I don't think the professionals are not going to let last week get to them, but like you said earlier, it's really going to be big on the fundamentals here. I would say more on it's less on the prep really, and just more on how they're going to play in the server against their opponent in front of them.
What do you think the prep is like against a team like Sentinels? Because as we've talked about, EG is normally very prep heavy. They play well against structured squads. It's kind of hard to know what to expect with this new Sentinels roster.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Sentinels, you look at the calling style of Def and what he's done in the last year even. You look at the slow default rounds. You look at the lurk from Marv. You look at the slow pace, let's take A main, let's take B main, let's work back to A. The multi-stage fakes, this is what they love to do.
Well, let's talk about the map vetoes in this one. Mel, diving into it, we obviously have Bind in the pool now for the second week. Where do you expect these teams to head?
Oh, actually, EG banning Haven. I thought they were going to ban Bind, so it looks like they're going to leave it open. I'm honestly expecting Pearl as a map 1 here for one of these teams to pick. And then Sentinels, yeah, they've been banning Splits since Marv has come in. That is characteristic. So I'm expecting EG to pick up Pearl here. Honestly, I think that they're going with a Fracture. Honestly, interesting target pick against Sentinels, who didn't look too hot on Fracture last week.
Yeah, and Sentinels starting on attack, I mean, that's a really pacey map. There's the Pearl you were expecting, although it's Sentinels who decided to take that. I mean, they looked pretty good on it last week with Marv. I think that Marv in that Viper role is really, he's finding his footing.
both those maps seem pretty strong for EG. Their Fracture's good with that interesting Sova composition. Their Pearl's been solid as well. This seems pretty favorable now.
And then we see the ban in the second phase from EG on Vines, and then from Lotus. I think we're going to see interesting map here. If there's going to be a Ascent or Haven up to EG here. Yeah, I think the Pearl's going to be really interesting. I think it's really going to come down to who can win that map. I think if it's like, obviously, if it's going to be EG up, they're going to get the 2-0 if they're willing to go 2 on Pearl. But I think it's going to be interesting because Sentinels blew out Loud on that map, and then Loud blew out EG 13-0. So it's going to be crazy. It's going to be interesting to see what game plan adjustments that EG's made.
You guys were all talking about the fundamentals a lot, and the Heineken 0.0 Ascent, that final one, that's what it's all about. But let's focus our sights on the first map in this series, in Fracture. Like I mentioned, it's this interesting Sova composition for EG. SEN has been switching to the single duelist with Zekin. Do you expect changes from either of these teams, VCJ?
I don't expect major changes, especially with the players that we are looking at here. I think this is a map that is really protocol heavy. You build these set plays. That's what you want to be looking for, so they can't really change much.
I think Sentinels as well, I think the first time they played with Marv, they actually hadn't played it at all in scrims, the one time they won it. But now it's going to be interesting to see. Now they have had 1-2 weeks of practice on the map, what they're going to go with.
Yeah, and I mean, if you take a look at Sentinels, actually, they are picking up the Sky over the Fade. I mean, that was a big part of their last comp, was to play the post plan, play the anti-bomb with the Tether nade. Now having Sky in the mix, it's going to help you on attack, but you're going to miss that on defense.
What are Sentinels looking to improve here? Because it was their attack side that struggled so much last week, Mel.
I think the Sky actually brings a lot on the attack. If there's like util, it kind of baits out the alarm bot and things like that. And I think Saucy's incredible on the flash flex as well. I think he looks really good on Pearl with it. So I wouldn't be surprised if he were to take over this game, honestly.
Well, we will see if those improvements are enough. It's map number 1 here for EG versus Sentinels. Let's send it over to your two casters. Van Sillington III on the call.
Well, you know, it's not GB, it's still me, but we still have the fun names coming in together. Indeed, we do have a great series in our hands. The clock is ticking here, Riv, for both of these teams, for EG and also for Sentinels. And, you know, there are also two teams that in here, in a Riot Arena, that have always had great games against their opponents, but unfortunately always fell short, right? Into a map series, into close games. But at least now, two teams that are very tactical. One of them will be coming out the victor to get closer to the goal of reaching those playoffs.
Right, both 2-4 right now. Not much time left to secure these games that are absolutely necessary. EG still yet to beat a North American team here in the VALORANT Americas. We'll see what they can do. I mean, you look at their stats, Van Silly. Their last 3 games, Leviathan, Loud, Furia. They only lost those games, those 2, Loud and Furia, by 3 rounds at most. They do not look like an 8th place team currently. We'll see if they can show that power here again today. And Sentinels looking to do the same. Ever since the Marv change, they've looked a little bit stronger, a little more solid now that they can focus these roles.
And doing the same is working things off towards the B side here on Fracture. This time around, a change from the initiator. No Saucy here on the Fade going into the Sky. Less pressure into our arcades. But for EG, you still see these players. 4 players stacked up on the side before, and now looking to pressure towards that angle. It's a wrong read to start, but all the Sentinels are backing out here towards the A site where there's only Calm playing.
Doing a good job at watching the flank, though. EG taking north side. It looks like they're going to just play full retake on this. They have the utility for it. Ethan waiting for the fault line to come back up, I think, before they do anything. His site is taken, easy clear. We'll see how the Sentinels push this post plant. If they layer forward and try to scale into site or just take a main control. It's actually a safer plant. No, out in the open. EG hears where the plant's coming from and spam through smoke.
And the smoke's about to disappear here into the site. Marv only had 1 into the round, so it's not going to block off towards the drop. So EG are flooding into the site now. Spike falls down one more time. As now we have a 5 versus 2. One of them is going to go onto that defuse, at least at halfway. The other 2 players, the Sentinels, behind that smoke, nothing that he could do. EG gets a clean retake and a pistol round coming in.
Second best pistol round win percentage in VALORANT Americas. Evil Genius is showing why right there. Playing the map, understanding that it was going to be pinched towards A, and as soon as they get a kill on that spike plant, they go into this trap play EG that we've been seeing much more of, able to work right into protocol and get their opponents when they're feeling the safest. While Sentinels was not safe in that site, EG grabbed pistol, and we will see a Bulldog just for Demon. Looked like Calm wanted to think about it. He does. He actually dips right into that Bulldog, so they're reassuring a little more strength, knowing Sentinels will take their time here and try and pull all the util out and positioning to see if they can get this first blood onto EG for second round.
Taking their time is definitely going to be the name of the game for both of these players. You heard VCJ on the desk. talking about how these two teams are protocol heavy, looking to find that information first before they could actually react, before they want to take a site. But it's EG looking to press first. 2 players moving forward here towards the south side of the map. Rated by Penkata, but easily dropped as EG pulls ahead. 1 player advantage. The rest of Sentinels looking forward, timing to get back into the site, looking to sell a fake towards B to start things off. As that second is just spotted one onto the rope. That's Ethan just rappelling away and looking for the backup.
You have to be worried about A main controls here. I think that's their biggest worry. This could be big coming in here from Jogamo and Ethan if they can get that fault line correctly and the rest of them flood into sight just like pistol round.
There's just too much ability here for Sentinels to stay inside this site. That was so clean. From a recon bolting to bottom of the site, combined with an aftershock from A main, Sentinels had no exit out of the map.
Wow. Just patient. It doesn't even look like EG's sweating there. Obviously, they know they have a gun diff, but the way they're executing, looking flawless right now, and Sentinels is really going to have to bring it onto their bonus round for Evil Geniuses. We'll see what Saucy decides to purchase. If she goes Phantom or Vandal, I think they're thinking out the strat right now. Splitting it 3 top side, 2 to that south side. This is a little bit of what they just ran for the side of Sentinels, so they'll keep it. Spikes down for now, so this looks again to be another round where they'll draw utility and possibly find out where Boostio is. Figure out where this Killjoy utility is and how to avoid that on some rounds. What a push towards Halls here, though, from the side of Evil Geniuses.
Yep. Bonus round for EG. What a pinch towards the south side again. 2 players out there. Marv being pinged by the Aldrone, and Boostio gets the kill. All of them get dropped. Trying to hold the pinch off for a bit, but it opens up the B site for Sentinels to move in from Arcane. Juggernaut spotting one. That's Def with the flash, falling back to support Saucy. Spike on his back too. But look at this. Zekin actually made it through here towards the spawn, looking to catch some players off the rotate. The pointy elbow of Boostio, the jump spot as they both swing. But it's still Zekin that's going to hold him back as we get the spike plant into B.
Demon 1 with a quick cleanup. This push through A Halls continues all the way to B to start recovering that ground and making sure this defuse is possible. Def doing his damnedest now to get this back.
Yeah. I mean, you're just going to stick the spike one more time. Yes, this is just going to be a common courtesy. Even Zekin doesn't get a kill out of that one. Def, will you save your weapon? You will at least. That's the silver lining for Sentinels into that round, but the game plan there are trying to get more map control, more space. Always blocked off by a smoke drop down by Demon 1 and a full defuse, at least so far into this game. Sentinels has to figure out now how they could actually drop Demon 1, prevent these smokes from actually being useful for the retakes for EG.
In the beginning of that round, it looked like Sentinels was set up for pushes to come from everywhere, right? Marv was looking at that drone. It's just he didn't expect 3 people from EG to swing out of A main. That's some pacing by Evil Geniuses. We know both of these teams to play the rounds quite long before they're ever seeing their opponents. Really touch and go, push and pull on each side on the extremities before we see that full action and take. Another round where the spike is down. EG has already gained a bit of Hall's control here. Getting Sentinels to sweat a little bit just to gain their first bit of territory that should almost be yours at the beginning of the round. So again, pulling out that util ever so little as Sentinels scale up here.
It's just a jiggle from Jogimo activating the fault line. Out on the defensive side from EG, holding him back a little bit more. 1 minute left on the clock. All the Sentinels grouped up together on a quasi-buy that they want to buy around the rifle that was saved by Def. The Trailblazer now, the difference that you see, the Initiator trying to clear a little bit more deeply into the site, seeing that at least Sands is clear for EG. EG looking to play a retake one more time.
It's been so solid for him.
Whoa. Nice little clothesline there from Ethan through the smoke. Beauty of the Phantoms. No matter what, those Sentinels still make it inside the A site. Tap onto the spike to try to flush out that util. Even flushing out the defenders further back. Now the Showstopper comes out too in a Rolling Thunder on the attack. Jogimo's the one with the Showstopper, trying to push back towards the A main. It connects off the wall onto Def. As Mars stays inside the site for 2 kills with the Guardian though. A 2 versus 2. Big flash coming across. Demon gets the first. The trade off from Saucy at 1 versus 1. Sticking off this spike. Gets off it, but Ethan still gets the kill. So close as Saucy just saw him at the last second, but just couldn't get the kill. And EG converts another round.
Ethan, what a quiet season he's had up until last week.
Last week, yeah.
Up until last week. Everybody remembering the Yoru game since lock-in, but where's that been? Where has this fire been from Ethan? Really, it's just been the comms in the background, but now the firepower is coming forward, and we're seeing that veteran status on the field. 5th round now coming out. EG dominating the first kills right now, all of them in favor of Evil Geniuses, dominating the game, controlling Sentinels to start on Fracture. And here they'll get some more A main control and down B to get that control as well. Sentinels feel suffocated right at the beginning of these rounds.
First off for the round. First off for the match. In the hands of Busio, just locking down towards tree. And Sentinels, you know, it's a default, slowing things down both extremities here, top and bottom. EG have been rather aggressive in trying to get that information when they're in their bonus rounds. And look at that gap continuing to close. Busio winning right now. Looking for the timing peak. It's good for one.
Spike down, attacker spawn.
Do they retrieve this? Do they keep going? The Boombot W. It looks like they're right into the site. EG's gonna have to play retake as Zekin gets another.
It's nice pushing by Sentinels, especially when you lost Marv early into the round. No smokes to cover any of Canteen or Spawn. But now you hear the rotation coming out from EG. The round has been flipped basically into the map. The pulse planners are playing towards the defender spawn. As now we have an orbital strike on the defender side. Jogging inching into the site. First one to lead the charge. Spike is planted out in the open for the sprays to 3 smokes from Canteen and Spawn. Ethan once again looking to fight back. Another smoke coming down from Demon 1. The first kill coming in as they're starting into this fuse. Ethan is trying to put it onto that halfway mark and will still once again stick it all the way.
Ooh.
That hurts. That hurts.
Evil Geniuses playing that perfectly, recognizing where it was planted. Canteen wasn't a worry. They keep pushing Spawn. Canteen had to make such a distance to get to that spike play because it's planted a little deeper for the angle. So EG focuses Spawn. They focus pushing back Sentinels, who scaled in. It looked so good. They take site. They take pressure. But it was B main. It was the reflank coming in from Evil Geniuses to be able to lock in that round. Starting off on a tear right now. Demon 1, 8-1-2. Absolutely incredible what he's been able to produce for the team as well, going from Jet to controller and not missing a beat.
Well, at least somebody that's not missing a beat yet definitely is going to be EG at this point as Sentinels calling out this timeout. Big important one here being called by Kaplan where, yes, they're able to get into the sites, but EG really just wants to give that away to them, Riv. It's okay for Sentinels to move into the spike plans.
Absolutely.
And the flood retakes. That's one of the problems here that Sentinels has faced playing last week against Cloud9 even. Into those moments when you're trying to set up into the pulse plans, staying stuck inside the site, they were flooded by C9. This time you're playing outside. You're able to push into your opponent's positions, but you're still losing.
They play a little bit of that retake game that EG was playing just a few weeks ago. It's just flip-flop between the strategies. Sentinels here do have a stinger onto Zekin. Shouldn't be too bad because he's going to have the showstopper this round. We'll see what they can produce with this power. They're going for the regular 1-4. It actually looks like... Is Pancata going to come back? Okay, he's just chilling by the rope to start.
Yeah.
So again, slow round. Let EG use this initial utility. Sentinels will drain that clock down to 1 before they really even execute here. And it's actually a very, very passive play by Evil Geniuses. They're expecting to get this showstopper into the site. Nobody's tower, nobody's B, and you see towards sand now for Demon 1. So they're gonna let Sentinels get up pretty as far as they can, and maybe just play this off of contact all around the board, honestly.
Definitely another protocol for Sentinels. Trying to see if there's gonna be any push towards the north side, and with that minute mark, it's avoiding this Allen Drone 2 might be the call finally to start probing towards something. It's going to be towards this B site. Pancata also inching towards Arcade as the rest of Sentinels are looking to execute here towards this B site. You mentioned that showstopper and it's stopped by Jogging, but at least the trade comes out. Sprays once again through the smoke. Ethan gets 2. Now it's up to Death and Pancata. At least we get the plant down. You have to stay inside the site this time around. Smokes dissipate. No kills coming through, and unfortunately there for Death. Meets his demise. It's up to Pancata.
All right, Pancata.
Gets the first one at least. 3 versus 1 remaining. Molly on to the spike to delay even more. Now spots 2 more as comes down to those protocols of EG. The ping pong, the left and right. The tap onto
Very
the
nice.
spike, but another delay.
Great
and
delay.
also the kill. He also has the lockdown, but decided not to use it at the beginning. Now with this recon,
tough.
You know the demise.
Did what he could.
A full stick.
Saves that weapon, but that shows you how. Oh my God, no!
The caster curse from Riv.
No, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. It was Ethan. That's all Ethan right now. Don't take this man's credit. What a game from him. Honestly, just a thorn in the side there and a nail in the coffin to end it. Ethan, that's the third, maybe fourth spray through smoke here. Phantom supremacy coming from a lot of the VALORANT Americas players recently, as we're seeing Pearl and Fracture become smoke fests. But yeah, Sentinels just cannot find an answer. They saved that weapon. They are still able to buy on this round with a few pivotal ultimates. You mentioned Penkata having that lockdown, but can they get close enough with members up, Vansili? They just seem to be getting torn apart or taking a lot of chip damage before they're finding the sites, making the post plan even harder. Evil Genius is now 6-0 here on Fracture to start us off. Take flight, play towards Halls, right out into sand here, and EG's letting this happen. They're taking it patient and see if Sentinels can find a frag out of this. Boostio with the operator again.
He's trying to get that pick into Sands. At least is able to hold that angle for two of his teammates to fall back.
Orbital strike out.
That's coming out from the attack from Sentinels. Now we have an open A site for Sentinels to plant for long.
Rolling Thunder up.
Spike planted.
Double lockdown. That's going to slow things up a little bit more. It looks like we do want to press forward. The Rolling Thunder comes out for the defense. Marvin's staying inside the site, gets dropped by Giacomo here. Lockdown doesn't hit anybody from both sides, but it's still EG across the board getting all of these kills. Only one traded back by Sentinel so far. Another opportunity to stick the plant. Second staying inside of this smoke, trying to get the spray, but it's still going to be the body block from Bucio to allow the defuse to come in for EG. And I mean, it feels like I'm just a song being held on loop. It's diffuse through smokes and diffuse after diffuse here for EG.
Oh my gosh. And then the aggression into A main there as well, knowing the numbers, knowing the pressure, and being the body block, like you said, to help out that defuse. So many things going right for EG right now, and as we heard, it's in the beginning of this, I'll talk about it later, round's about to start. Push towards A main probably once again here, coming from the side of Evil Geniuses. Arcade has the spike for Sentinels. We're watching that side of the map now. Ethan just wants the fault line. Oh, dry off the bat.
Got the ping there off the recon dart before. The third pulse to come out doesn't ping anybody, but Seconds already moving inside the side, close range. Showstopper onto the ground. Another attacker falls for Sentinels. As now with the smoke in the front, you can't do anything for the last two players to try to get in the B site for Asasi and Penkata. The two Brazilians trying to work together, but on opposite sides of the B site. Sasi looking for the duel, spotted. Just on the top over here by Giacomo.
Last player standing.
And then greeted by Demon. There's just
B.
no opportunities now for Sentinels to really try to find any opening towards this B site. No lurk kills. No ways to turn around back in the favor of the attack side. And with the spike being down, this is going to be potentially Penkata saving the weapon.
Evil Geniuses they have an amazing read on this, and if it's not even the read on the play, it is the personal play in that action. As we just saw, Giacomo towards tower
30
there.
seconds left.
The rest of the map, Ethan with multi-kills on these rounds. Sentinels not having an answer is actually just EG playing so damn well right now. Sometimes that's what it comes down to. And we heard in the beginning of this, I was saying before, these are two of the 4 teams in Americas right now that have made changes this split. And they're pretty deep into it, honestly. I mean, Demon 1 has been there quite longer than we expect, I should say, actually, to correct myself. But it just seems like EG has refined how this works. Penkata goes down. And Sentinels is still ebb and flow between these while they're back and where'd they go, you know? So it just seems like that is definitely becoming a factor here. Sentinels finding that identity, being able to get everybody on the same page for each game. And yeah, EG is just over that hill and still climbing.
It's pretty much red alert right now for Sentinels.
Yep.
Another timeout being called, the last one going into the map. Trying to find ways to salvage the last few rounds here of their attack. Latest head coach right now, Kaplan, trying to figure things out, and maybe indication that they might be a little bit more comfortable on the defensive half. Maybe that's why you want to burn out these 2 timeouts right now, and at least we're hoping that. if we're on the side here of the Sentinels fan side. And Potter has less to say. Everything's been looking pretty good for EG so far.
Smiles. I mean, usually we get like the Potter reacts, but I think it's too good right now. He's just smiling the whole time. And she must be happy as well, getting this team figured out the way that it will work against each team week to week, different play styles, and finding that flow. Seems like Calm on that. Asova has just been nailing it recently. Ethan coming back into form a little bit, and Demon One being able to slot in is something. I mean, like, you say that's something you could always ask for, but Cloud9 did it with 2 players. It's like, what's going on here? What are we missing? What are they doing so well across the board? Well, right now, they're showing us with an 8-0 on Fracture. This is the Evil Geniuses map pick. So they're picking it for a good reason. We ultimate here for Demon One to start off this next round. Sentinels on a Stinger and Vandal buy, as we have that Vandal on Pankata having a bit of money. They're quite far away from ultimates too. They could try to focus that Seekers, get themselves something for a further round. And it actually does not go to Seekers. Somebody else grabbed the orb. I think it's Def.
Now moving into the site, Zekin makes it towards the top. Another retake game now for EG. So Recon Dart came in, that got the ping, allowing Ethan to get the spray kill onto Zekin, and unfortunately, we still haven't made it into the site for our plat.
Spike spawn.
Lucio's pushing through. Yeah, I mean, you're going through spawn once again to try to fight, catch players off rotates, and you're just getting greeted by just EG one step ahead every single time. And the story repeats itself. Pankata, last player standing, Spike already down, where he cannot reach it. No opportunities for him to go for any heroic plays. With 44 seconds left, you already see it. Another attempt to save, and that opens up the whole map for just Jogimo to marathon and jog across everywhere to build up into the showstopper.
30 seconds left.
There was a good plan. Saucy had the spike, so it was plant spike, had Seekers, but I also think it was like Def get an orb or whoever else grabbed it and then get a kill for your all. They could have had Seekers right off that ramp grab and gotten into sight. EG is not toying around right now. Everything is needed to get into these sites. The peaks are not working. The util has to be there first, and Evil Geniuses pick up a 9th round here in the first half. Van Silly, I think they took that 13-0 and were like, oh, that's how you do it. Okay, let's try to put that into action.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. More from Calm. Figuring out that corner was held. And that was a spike again. And not that Saucy made a wrong move with the spike there, but they didn't have sight clear. They needed to try and pick up a weapon or drop one. So that was the option. That's where the team was going. You could see everybody on the same page, but yeah, still not working as EG was one step ahead. A little bit of love towards B here for all the Sentinels. We just had that A hit from Satellite. Now towards B, they're sticking together in a lot of their strats.
You want to go with what's obvious, right?
Yep.
3 ultimates available, going into default. Lock down and clear out the B site. But look at EG. Okay, nice pain shell kills at least onto Jogimo. EG already pushing all the way out here for a triple flank on the top of B. On their own retake, they have the orbital strike available from Demon One, so if Sentinels are all staying inside the site, this orbital strike could do a lot of damage.
That's exactly right. I think that's I like why Sentinel's now moving out. We have Arcade cover here. A stairs take coming in though from EG. Let's see if they can get this one down, or Sentinels grab their first round.
Aftershock with the first kill onto Def. You have the lurk coming back from Zekin at the underpass. Orbital strike coming into B, but Sentinels are finally holding it into the map.
There it is. There it is. Get the tourniquet. Stop the bleeding. Looks like Sentinels get themselves a round. And a pretty good one at that, keeping quite a few up. Able to build a little bit of economy right now. They have quite a bit of ways to go. Looking at EG's economy, they have been able to kill the EG members throughout these rounds that they are losing. So it doesn't look like too big of a hill to climb. But there is still quite a bit of econ to break through here. I don't know if they're going to do it before the second half. 2 more rounds here. Sentinels tasting a little bit of the W. And we'll see if they can get this round 11 in their favor as well. Split once again across the map. A lot less pushing from Evil Geniuses than the early rounds here. So I think they're giving Sentinels a little more room.
Well, there is at least pushing here towards the A side.
Oh dear.
Second satcheling into the B side. 1v1 against Busio. Drops and turns around. But it's still the advantage for Sentinels. Nice trade coming out from Pankata. Supporting the rest of their team this time around on the split into the A site.
Placing swamp grenade.
Good defense set up already. They don't have to deal with too many ultimates here unless Jogamo goes crazy. Nope.
Not gonna
No, sir.
Jogamo now getting stopped with the rocket in hand.
Yep.
Greeted by Pencata, and that's going to be the last two players. Admitting defeat into this round, EG falling back into the save. Sentinels able to string 2 rounds in a row now. So you talked about the tourniquet, they're now limping.
Yeah.
And hopefully they can walk soon before we switch into the half. At least we're seeing some good things for Sentinels on how they executed into that B site.
And it does seem like Sentinels are ironing out the kinks, right? To think about it, this is actually the 3rd composition
Last
Sentinels
round
has
in the
brought
half.
to Fracture. We had week 1 versus 100 Thieves. They played the double duelist. Then we saw them bring the Fade, double initiator comp in. And now we get Sky for Asasi here. So another change. So 3 comps throughout the times they played Fracture already. So getting that smoothed out takes time. Really tough. EG is kind of knocking on that door right now and letting Sentinels know this is not one of the refined comps for them. Last 2 rounds, though, may show us different. Set up on B now here for Boostio. That's a lot of Killjoy utility to stop and delay plant as a fast towards satellite from Sentinels.
Very nice flashes to open it up. Sasi gets the first blood into Dish. Weaken EG holding back towards the A site as they had to fight into the last round with small shields. Calm looking to greet the players moving in, but it was actually Pencata moving up from Sands to not allow any of the players from Sentinels to drop. As if a 5 versus 2, things are looking really good now to put 3 in a row for Sentinels, and that's how you want to finish the half. Boostio moving up, looking for the flawless, but it's not going to happen, but at least the victory should be coming in. Orbital strike to even run the clock down as Bar save it from the previous round. And with that, Second gets the final kill. And we do have what could potentially be a blessing for Sentinels now because we have a 9-3 half.
The last few rounds are necessary to create that cushion, to take off the pressure of the pistol round. Like we said, EG second best pistol round win percentage here, so they're going to come out swinging.
All right, well, let's set it over to the floor. We actually have Dan Dryad talking with BCJ's family.
Thank you guys so much. And I'm over here with Deanne and Brent. And like you said, family from BCJ and his mom and uncle. So the first thing I want to ask you guys is, we heard that you guys are not from here. Where are you flying from?
We came in from Michigan. We live near Detroit. Yeah.
Okay. And how has been all that support when it comes to even flying here to support BCJ? We saw him on the desk, and he's a big personality. We love seeing him every time. He's always bringing something to the Valorant scene. So tell me a little bit more about what is like kind of having that full support, supporting him in different ways from online to all the way here.
Oh my gosh, we've always supported Brendan.
Yeah.
I saw he was getting into gaming when he's like 14, and he said he made like the top 500 of Overwatch. And I'm like, in the world? I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, that's amazing. And then he got into Apex and we supported him 100% right from the start. So fun watching him play.
And you, Brent, as an uncle, is that kind of a different perspective as well?
Well, yeah, I mean, we are super interested in all of his games, and we watch all the games.
Big watch parties.
Yeah,
yeah, we
so
have watch parties. But it's super important, I think, to have that family background to support the players.
Is it hard for you guys to keep up with everything that he's doing? You know, like all the matches that you have to follow, him being on the desk, or is it just...
It's not hard at all. We watch every single one. I'm super interested. I follow everything on social media. I'm not big into like replying and saying things, but I see absolutely everything. I see every video, every game, everything.
Okay, and last one real quick. Give me predictions for this matchup. Is it going to be 2-0 for EG?
Well, we don't like to see the 9-3 curves, but...
Okay, is here.
We have family buff here today. His sister and his other uncle are also here, so family buff is big for the team.
We gotta see how it goes. We're gonna send it to the second half and to the casters. Back to you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dan Dryad. And yes, indeed, they do have the family buff for today,
Yeah, they
BCJ
do.
and EG. Woo. As they had the lead 9-3, but it definitely shows now that from BCJ's uncle there, they do follow esports, they do follow Valorant. They see this scoreline at 9-3 and...
Yeah, they know the curse. They know it is true. It looms over this game as we speak. And now as we hop into Fracture, EG on the attack side. Sentinels defending. Looks like they go for a 4-1, so it may just be a bailout here for Pencata if that site gets hit quick. Already playing towards spawn, so retake B for Sen. EG all towards A.
Exactly.
All towards A. It's just going to be Boostio hanging back to keep that turret alive for now. Oh, we may get a little action to start here.
Yeah, because even on Sentinel's side, it's 4 players on the A side. The recon are pinged out a few. So a small stalemate, but we're still looking to move forward and fight for Sentinels. Aftershock pushing back EG. Now Crossfire set up for Sentinels at the AOR. Joggimo's out to satchel in, and there's that Crossfire, but he still gets the opener. And Dev somehow comes in with 3 kills with the Frenzy. And Sentinels extra back in their own pistol on defense.
Oh my god. Read like a book on that one. It's like a breather at the halftime. Oh my gosh, yeah, Frenzy supremacy on that one, if you will. Very nicely done, and a much needed round for Sentinels here, to be honest. This could have gone very bad if Evil Geniuses picked up their first. They took first and their bonus last half. Yeah, they're feeling it. So Sentinels here need to almost get their bonus. Push towards Satellite. And Sonar Bolt already out. So I think Sentinels can figure out where this play might be going to start off as they just start distributing Eco back and forth here.
And that's the beauty of Sasi going into that sky.
Right.
Flash down towards Dish. Blinded some players. Knows there's at least 1 player out there, and then they go for the Trailblazer out towards the bottom A site. That allows for Sentinels to push forward. Boostio just waiting for a peek behind that turret, but it's not even needed. Zekin spotted him, drops him with the Stinger. That opens up the A site for EG to move in. Sasi now being cornered by a combo, but still makes it out alive here. Plant comes down for EG. Rotation back from Sentinels, and a lot of pressure coming in towards the A-Hall. Zekin hiding just behind of this smoke. As soon as it dissipates, it's going to be a surprise for Joggimo.
Sasi!
One enemy remaining.
He does get the kill to Zekin, but gets traded off by Death. And that's it. At least we get the plant down for EG, but Sentinels still another clean round.
That was wild. Nice job. Good calls. Way to recontrol on that A main and make make Sentinels come to, make EG come to you. Figure out that positioning. You see Sasi, you're pushing back in. They both come back towards that sand area.
One enemy remaining.
And EG just cannot gain control. It's like you have the site, but it doesn't feel good if you haven't taken anybody out or know where they are. It is just dangerous to plan. 9-5 now, Sentinels. This is the big round. This bonus.
Right there.
If they can shut down Evil Geniuses here, no saves, no nothing. That puts Sentinels in a very good position. Pencata as well, having a much better week now to start off than last week. So it's great to see him back on form as well for the team.
Blinded.
So combination for EG to gain dish control. Recon Dart with the satchels. Free orb now for Joggimo. Both initiators once again on the A site for Sentinels. As a fault line came out from Death towards the bottom side. Now Sentinels looking for the flank.
Oh my God!
Ethan waiting there. 1 by 1, easy kills, even adding the confidence with the drive-by there. Making sure that his opponent's down. And this is going to make it tough for the last 2 players of Sentinels. You talked about a big round here, Riv. A bonus round for Sentinels. So you're hoping to get something out of that, but unfortunately it's a flawless for EG instead.
Yeah. The flawless was definitely the exact opposite of the round we were thinking here. Solo, too. I think only one of those was even in the eyes of Calm because the swing was so wide.
Yep.
Coming out from Zekin there, but yeah, not much else than Ethan being Ethan on that. 15-5 on the breach this game. Rolling Thunder ready now after that bonus round. And now Sentinel's gonna have to figure out how they want to retake or push this map, right?
Yep.
Do you want to push when you're down, when you need your econ? You don't have as much freedom to try and take a main control as much.
Okay. It's a Rolling Thunder for the rest of pinch out from drop. Zekin did get tagged for a bit from that Rolling Thunder, and it's a fast execution for EG in the A site. Flash, retaliated by Sentinels, the double peek coming out. Zekin gets 2 kills, and so does EG. Spike now falls. As Jargamo's looking to get the plant. And with this plant, we'll also have the showstopper. A 3 versus 2 Rolling Thunder available for Death. gets it out right now, and Sentinels follows right behind it. A flash towards the front of the A site, a counter from Ethan, the first kill coming out, and then the showstopper onto death. And it's up to EG now with the advantage, a 2 versus 1. It's up to the Iceman. Molly's still available, a 1 versus 1 first. The jiggle out from Ethan, playing with them as Joggable then comes in on the other side of the smoke. And it's EG with the post-plant hold.
Marv almost found that 1v1.
Almost.
But they were toying with that sidestep. EG just on the step ahead. And yeah, wow. That looked a lot like Sentinels was going to be able to clean up the round quite a bit. But the ults coming online for EG really flipped the switch there. After seeing the show, or the Rolling Thunder go through A halls without hitting anybody, you thought it might just be there's no return on investment other than open angles for EG to find when they come around the corner. Not the case, just the post-plant win, 11-5 now. So they've taken bonus round on. Can they keep Sentinels down? A stinger buy on that side. Zekin 1 away from ultimate, so we may see that try to be grabbed somewhere. No, they're actually satellite. So if they don't push up, Zekin's gonna have to look for a kill on that. And they wait this round out. Again, down towards a minute for a lot of these teams. Both teams having an average time of up to 40 seconds or 42 seconds on average to get that first kill. So you can see their teams that play the extremities, wait, pull out util, and wait for that signature to come back up to re-hit.
And AG's okay with that too. Because if you're looking at the gameplay from AG, especially on a map like this, like Fracture, see all the orbs are getting picked up by these players. They're rotating. All of these ultimates are moving to as we move into the rounds. Now in the site, Marv waiting on the top of B Heaven. Dropping Joggimo is just trying to satchel to find space into B site. All of the players of Sentinels rotated across, but now some doubts. Sasi rotated back towards the A site, so that's weakened out the defense onto B. And it's only Marv by himself. No open plant now for long. Ethan stays inside the site. As Steph and Saucy, okay, the Stingers are working so far. The Stingers are actually working very good for Sentinels for the retake. 2 left alive, showstopper to come in for Zekin to clear out the B.
1 enemy remaining.
And somehow it's just all of these Stingers are working in favor of Sentinels. Wow. This was supposed to be a round where EG maybe could have been at 12 with that because of that low buy from Sentinels. They were down, but they're definitely not out.
That is incredibly unexpected. Evil Genius is losing that one, and Sentinels coming up with an incredibly much-needed round. I think they lose that, and the game just goes the way of Evil Geniuses. So Sentinels doing everything they can here to keep themselves in the round, and that took teamwork on the retake. You could see all the util was expent as they retook, blinded, and just absolutely tore Evil Geniuses apart. Boostio, the only one staying alive, but that money that Sentinels has to work through is still a problem. Another buy for Evil Geniuses. We do have Marv with his ultimate, and they're going to start stacking. They like taking this satellite side at least for some pressure. I think this is exactly what Sentinels needs to start doing a bit more of, getting that early info so they can at least start to form a plan before Evil Geniuses hit the site. Can be a ring around the rosy here.
Exactly. Heard the recon dart towards the A side, never got shot off, so EG are inching into the A halls, waiting for a timing to get into Sands. But instead for Sentinels, you talked about the ring around the rosy, 3 players moving up towards Dish. Joggimo just waiting for an opportunity to move inside the A site. And after the control of the orb, Sentinels are moving back into A site. It's up to a lurk play here from Boostio towards B.
Still underneath. Audio cues as well. For a play like Boostio, right, you're hearing people move through spawn, which way they're rotating. So EG, while flexing a little bit to A halls, is hearing Sentinels adjust on the map. Smokes for Aftershock. A little bit of a fake here as well to start drawing util. Very nicely done.
Smoke, owl drone.
Yeah.
The spike still at A. Joggimo ADSing. But only 1 player is holding.
30
and it's
seconds
Saucy
left.
towards spawn. Smoke's coming down. Joggimo snatching in. Orbital strike to delay that clock. 23 seconds left on the clock.
Oh, the plant? No.
Forced off it.
No, you know exactly where it's going down if that happens.
But after all the sprays and the spams coming out from the util, the plant then comes into the corner for long A.
Just off the delay satchel. Another ult coming through.
And that's on the attack side. Does a bit of damage, forcing the players of Sentinels inside the 8 halls, and that's second with the kill. But gets traded off. Advantage back for EG. It's up to Pancata solo. But it's EG on that point.
Evil Geniuses has constantly forced the hand of Sentinels, where they're moving, how they can position, what util they're trying to delay with. He goes to B, they get out a ton of priority utility, and like the aftershock, the nade, the drone. They go back to A, and they're able to just absolutely turn Sentinels for a loop as Sentinels tries to hold, try to scale in. No ground gained. 12-6 here. Game point for EG. We'll see. Sentinels do have enough to buy. The util not looking too scarce. We'll see how they push. Sentinels, or sorry, Zekin straight down to B with a little bit of help. It looks like they'll re-rotate back for A. A reset here after Sentinels try something in the beginning of the round on B extremity. And EG's ready for another hit again. They haven't been deterred from any of the strats they want to run.
It's a little bit faster this time too. No fakes. Jogama's already in.
Where's everybody?
Yeah. Come had the Hunter's Fury, but it still decides to move into the site to plant. Now forced to play out into the corner. Wow. Sentinels looking to play the retake, a double flank out towards Dish. That's going to be Zekin to try to open it off. Nice little stun out from Saucy's Trailblazer to get the assist onto that kill. Things are looking pretty good for Sentinels for the retake, at least for now. Player advantage. Calm still inside of the site.
Yeah, he's...
Flashing coming out. Then the lineup from Jogama. The two players on the crossbar inside A seals it in for EG as they win a convincing fracture to start off the series.
How many multi-kills did we get that game? And through smoke. Like, add those up, they win a few rounds alone. And then you put the fact that Evil Geniuses continue to read Sentinels in and out. The push and the pull was so good. Ethan back on top of his game right now. And that is a scary prospect for Sentinels moving into map 2.
And it almost feels that game of patience really came out for Evil Geniuses towards the end. Sentinels did a great job at least to find and probe. And then when you're starting to figure out, okay, EG's not really here, where do we want to fight back? They're overcooking, overthinking, and EG just capitalizes on their attack side too. Now showing why EG wanted to choose this map to start off the series.
Yeah, they take Fracture, they take the first pistol, and they don't use the second pistol, but they basically take the bonus round on to bring us into map 2. We'll be right back to have that map for you after this.
What is this from EA? He is currently unstoppable. He is just a consistent demon. El Diablo.
Hey guys, it's EA. Welcome to my course on optimal Valorant training. I'm going to be demonstrating now some angle clearing. I'll slowly come around the corner as well, making sure no one's on these off angles.
Red Bull gives you wings. Red Bull gives you wings.